Alright, so today I want to talk about one of the most hated Pixar movies. Toy Story 4. I remember when this movie was first announced. I was pretty young, and yeah, I'm still pretty young. But yeah, I was very young when this movie was announced, and I was pretty excited. I love Toy Story, so I was happy that they're making another movie. Teaser trailer released, I liked it. I was hyped for this movie when it came out. And then it came out, and I liked it. I really liked it. It was not my favorite Toy Story movie, but it was still good. I liked it. And I still pretty much hold that opinion to this day. And I actually saw this movie twice when it came out in theaters, just because I liked it that much. Now, I think that Toy Story 4 isn't as bad as people say it is. Is it perfect? No. Is it the best Toy Story movie? Definitely not. This is, in my opinion, the least best Toy Story movie. There's yet to be a bad Toy Story movie, and Toy Story 5 is looking pretty good, so I still think that that's going to continue. Yeah. In general, I think that Toy Story 4 is a pretty good movie. Did it need to happen? Absolutely not. But you know what else didn't need to happen? Finding Dory. You know what else didn't need to happen? Monsters University. And those are both really good. And so, yeah. Is this the best Toy Story sequel? Like I said earlier, it's definitely not. Does it expand in the world in some interesting ways? Yeah. So the movie follows almost directly, not directly, but around a year or two after Toy Story 3 ended, and Woody's not really feeling it with Bonnie. She doesn't play with him as much, which is kind of a retcon considering how much she loved him in Toy Story The Time Forgot, Toy Story 3, and Toy Story Terror, but we can ignore that. And also she's seen playing with him later in the movie, so, anyway, yeah. I think that this is, kind of a forced plot point. Bonnie loved Woody, so why does she all of a sudden oh yeah, plot needs to happen. Yeah, I define conflict. Interesting for an expansion of Woody's character. And he's kind of held up on Andy, which, interesting, progression of his character from the first three. So Bonnie's about to start kindergarten and she's really nervous. So Woody follows along against the other toys' wishes, and by the way, the other toys, don't get much to do in this movie, and I made a whole video about that. And he helps her create Forky. I like Forky. I think Forky is actually a really entertaining character, an interesting addition to the Toy Story world that brings up some questions about how toy sentience works, but we can ignore that, because Forky's actually a really fun and interesting character. And so, Forky does not want to be a toy. Basically, the toy version of somebody that wants to unalive themselves. Why did I say that so happily? I'm sorry that I said that so happily. But, yeah. So, they go on a road trip, and Bonnie brings almost all of her toys, and Forky tries to throw himself away, jump out the window, a lot. But eventually he does succeed, and Woody catches up to him, and they find themselves in the town of Grand Basin, where Woody goes into an antique store, because he sees Bo Peep's lamp. I think this is one of the best elements of Toy Story 4, was that they brought Bo Peep back. Bo was a fan-favorite character from the first two movies, and so I think that it was really nice of them to bring her back and explain what happened to her. Now, personally, if I were a writer, I would have brought back Wheezy, but anyway, yeah. Is that, actually, I noticed that Disney's been acknowledging Wheezy a little more. That's off topic, but, yeah. Then plot ensues, Bo's been a lost toy, Woody finds him at the playground, they return Forky, yeah. I'm not gonna do a whole plot rundown, but I think this movie has some very strong beats, both humorous, emotional. The things it sets up are nice, the payoffs are nice, the jokes are funny. Again, this has some really strong emotional moments, like Gabby's speech to Woody near the end, which actually makes me a little bit teary-eyed for some reason. But, yeah, in general, I think this movie's good. The ending, I don't think the ending is actually that weak. Yes, it retcons some stuff from the first few movies, but in general, it's a really nice and emotional ending. But yeah, Bo's character is also kind of retconned in this movie, but yeah, she's also a little bit of a jerk to Woody, and that also doesn't really help the ending make sense. The other toys don't have a lot to do. Buzz is interesting in this movie because he doesn't get a lot to do, and what he does is it's funny, but it's also a bit of a retcon, but it's a nice appearance. But I just don't understand why he went back to diluted Space Ranger mode, or why they have to keep bringing back diluted Space Ranger mode for all the movies. It was funny in Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2, and also in Toy Story 3, but in this movie, in my opinion, it's fun, but it doesn't really work. But yeah, some of the new characters are nice. Ducky and Bunny, Duke Kaboom, Giggle McDimples. But yeah, in general, this movie is really good. It's a solid movie. It's not perfect by any means, but yeah, it's flawed in almost every way. But in general, it's a decent movie. It's not that good of a Toy Story movie, but it's a good movie. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Toy Story 4. I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, I think Toy Story 4 is a fine movie. And I don't think it deserves all the hate that it gets. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and have a great day, everyone. Gabby Gabby's also a pretty good villain with a nice redemption arc. I like the opening. Yeah, I like a lot of elements of this movie, but it's just kind of flawed in a lot of ways. That just, yeah, it's kind of jarring, but yeah, this is not a good Toy Story movie. Well, it's a decent Toy Story movie, but it's a good movie. It's a decent movie. I never talked about this earlier, but the ending also just kind of retcons a lot of stuff from the previous movies, but it's a nice, heartfelt ending, but it's just not really a good ending of the franchise, even though it's emotional and sweet, and does tug out your heartstrings. But yeah, in general, this movie has a lot of flaws, and I know I've said this before, but I like it. But I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I just kind of like it, and at times I'm indifferent to it. Also, I know I made a whole video about this, but where are my Slinky scenes? Where are my Ham scenes? Where are my Rex scenes? Where are my Jessie scenes? Where are all of the characters that I know and love from the first movies? I like these new characters, but I like my old favorite characters even better. I also feel like they could have focused on Woody and Bo's relationship a little more, because that was kind of set up to be a big plot point. And yeah, like I said, Bo's kind of retconned from the first few movies, but there are a lot of retcons in this movie, honestly. But yeah.